Hello and welcome to Versus Live. I'm Ross Merriam.
And I'm Corey Ballmeister.
And we've got Rob in the booth. Say hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Rob will be taking all of your questions, comments, concerns, and burns in the chat. Make sure to tag at Star City Games so he can see them and send his favorites over to us. We are continuing to explore standard post bans with Zendikar Rising in all of its glory.
Yes.
We've had a couple days now, so Corey and I have put our brewing caps on. You see, I'm literally still wearing mine.
Yes.
Yes, this is
Still
my
currently brewing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always brewing. And have come out of the tank with some cool ideas for this format, as well as some decks that are, receiving hype on social media and doing well on the arena ladder and so forth. So these are decks that we do, endorse for people that want to, compete at a high level here in the early days of this format, and hopefully we can continue to refine them and see what makes them tick.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff changing. We're seeing new decks. We saw some cool ones even, on our way over to the studio today. So standard still seems very wide open. Even after this day, in the modern day and age where, information travels so fast on Arena, there's so many games played. I would assume in a week on Arena, they play more games, we play more games than you can possibly test at a company.
A single day.
For sure,
Yeah,
for
not
sure.
even a week, single day.
Yeah, probably. And nothing has really jumped out as the best deck yet, except whatever Crocus is playing, of course. But outside of that, there's nothing that has been really, really dominant. I've had some success with a bunch of different decks. A lot of stuff looks really fun, really cool. So standard's still looking healthy.
Yeah, no, it looks great right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to be starting with a shell that I tweeted about the other day. And this is a shell that I explored in many different configurations.
Okay.
The idea of playing Skyclave Shade, Whisper Squad, Rankle, and Village Rites as a core. Yeah. This provides you some synergy, a little bit of card advantage, sticky threats, all things that I like to be playing in a sort of aggressively slanted shell. I've tried it in basically every color combination imaginable. The one that we're going to be showing off today is a mono black variant that uses Gray Merchant as a way to apply pressure. So that shell sometimes can be a little weak at applying pressure. Shade and Rankle are pretty good, but you need to supplement with a little bit more.
Sure.
Gray Merchant is one of the big closers that you get when you stay mono black, and you also just get buttery smooth mana. I've been trying to build 3-color lists with different triomes to help the mana, but they're really there's not enough synergy to make the colors work together, really. I've been trying to come up with more sacrifice-heavy lists, but without another sacrifice outlet after Woe Strider, that was really tough because we lost Priest of Forgotten Gods in rotation, and there really isn't a replacement for that card, and that was a big deal. And all the different, 2-color lists have their own kind of flavor. I've got an Orzhov list that's more token heavy, a blue list that draws a lot of extra cards. You get Stormcaller, a red list that's a little bit sacrificey, a green list that's more mid-rangey with bigger creatures. Okay. A mono black list I think has some nice synergies going on, and the real advantage is just the really smooth mana. Yeah. Not having to play lands that enter the battlefield tapped, not having to worry about getting multiple colors, getting to play a bunch of Castle Locked Lanes and Agadeem's Awakening, so you still get utility lands.
Yeah.
And I'm actually playing one Cavern, the creature land that gets +1/+1 counter.
Oh, yeah, Cavern Baron or something.
Yeah,
I'm not sure either.
Yeah. I even got one of those. So.
Sounds cool. That seems like a very Ross Merriam deck, I must say. Whisper Squad and Ross Merriam, name a more iconic duo. So,
which is weird because I'm not one who's known to whisper.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And you haven't been squatting up lately with social distancing either. So
exactly.
That's pretty far off from you, yeah.
I guess it's a player fail, I guess.
So for me, I have been, of course, building some Yorion decks, and, that will be saved for later in the show, so have no fear. Our Bird Serpent will be here. But this is another deck that has been right up my alley and I have loved for a long time, and that's Golgari Adventures. It kind of got pushed out when Temur Reclamation got created. But right before that, it was actually just very good. The deck hasn't changed a ton, except we get double face cards. You get Rankle here at the top end. I guess we had that before, but otherwise it's still pretty adventure. The core is pretty much the same, but the list looks really good. Agadeem's Awakening in here, I was playing around with a list that just bumped it up to 4 because I think that card is just so very powerful. You're already pretty black hungry with the deck anyways. You do deal yourself a decent amount of damage, so that gets a little scary with that, but you have such great targets to bring back. Innkeeper at 1, Falmir Knight as well, a plethora of 2s and 3s. So
yeah, I think the real key with that card is most decks that are going to have a good number of 1-drops to return with it aren't going to have the things at 3 to really take advantage of it at 6 mana. And when you can hit both ends and make it a really good 6 mana card, that is going to be the key to unlocking it. And Golgari Adventures does that better than I think any other deck in the format.
Totally agree. And, you know, playing against these rogue decks on the ladder, that still seems to be like one of the more popular thing. I had Adadeem's Awakening yesterday for 4, brought back Rankle, Lovestruck Beast, Innkeeper, and Scavenging Ooze, and I'm like, good luck.
That's pretty good.
They lost.
They did not win.
All right, so speaking of losing, I did some losing at our first standard show. I remember it was a close one. I was still having nightmares about that game 5. Round 2, that was a good one. But I hated it. All right, so that means I do get to go first. And, oh, yeah, this hand's nice. I'll keep.
I will keep as well.
Okay, so let's start with a Heart's Desire. Get Shaheen in the game.
Okay, well, I have a 1-mana 1/1 as well.
Whisper Squad. Okay, got you. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm not a very good whisperer either, believe it or not.
Yeah, this is not a very whispery show. Rob, you're going to have to do the whispering.
Yes, please, Rob.
Okay.
Nailed it. I will attack.
I do not have a life pad.
Okay, nice. Well, you don't get one then. There you go.
I'm that jerk who's borrowing paper from their opponent.
And then I will play an Innkeeper and another Forest and pass to you. Yeah, wow. That's bringing me back to real life events here. Can I borrow a dice, paper, pen, and tokens if you don't mind? Be like, no, sir,
also,
please.
Ross, chat would like you to say hello, fellow kids.
Hello, fellow kids.
You do look like that. The hat gives you that extra push. I like it.
Anytime I can get compared to Steve Buscemi,
he is quite hilarious.
So now I'm in an awkward spot because it's going to cost me a pretty significant amount of development to deal with this Innkeeper right now and stop Corey from drawing a card on his next turn, should he have a 3rd land, which seems very likely.
I don't. I won't be innkeeping at all.
So is that 1 card worth what is essentially going to be 2 mana of my development? It's going to be worth a Whisper Squad activation.
That's for you to find out and for me to still play regardless, pretty much the same.
So the question of trading card advantage for development is slanted in the side of development for the more pressure that you have, right? Because you don't care if your opponent's drawing cards if you know you're going to end the game early. I do not think I'm going to end the game particularly early, given how we've started and what my hand is composed of. So I'm going to value Corey's card advantage more and Bloodchief's Thirst the Innkeeper.
Okay.
Then I will attack for 1.
19.
19 all and pass the turn.
Yeah, I think especially when you're on the draw too, it makes it a lot easier to want to just be the removal and then attack and pass to you.
18. Maybe I was supposed to do this too.
All right, pass to you. I think my favorite scene of his in any movies was Mr. Deeds, where Mr. Deeds drops by a pizza and he's like, my favorite Oreo and French fry pizza.
And I will pass the turn.
Okay. A draw and play this as fast as I can before you decide to kill anything.
Yep.
Okay. And don't think you really have too much artifact removal, I would imagine, in black, so declare attackers?
Yep.
Beatdowns.
I will block.
Okay.
I will activate.
Okay.
This is going to be a tough game to win. The Great Henge is basically Corey's far and away best card in the matchup, and I just didn't have an answer on curve for the Lovestruck Beast.
Yeah. Honestly, this is what I think is probably the best Great Henge deck, just because, like, mono green is probably better because, you know, they have mammoths, and we have mammoths too, but they do have just bigger creatures all the way up the curve. But I think this one is actually better because of all the cards you draw and how much removal you have. You have time to set this up, and then just eventually it takes over the game in so many matchups.
Yep. And I will Village Rites the Whisper Squad that's blocking.
Okay. Then I will gain 2.
You're at 21.
And draw a card and pass to you. Oh yeah, there is nothing more satisfying than Lovestruck Beast into the Great Henge. Except Yorion Blink. Let's not get crazy, but...
Timurat.
Okay.
Bloodchief Surf the Ooze.
Okay.
Attack for 1.
Yep. I love your choice of Thirst instead of... did I lose my pen already? How did that even happen? Did you take mine?
No. I had one sitting over here.
All right.
You drop it?
All right.
Oh, there's a pen right here.
Okay. We're losing it today. 20. I may be losing it in the pen department, but I'm winning it in this game. All right. Let's start with Innkeeper. Draw a card. Falmir Knight. Draw 2 cards. A 1. A 2. A Falmir Knight and draw 2 cards. A 1. A 2. Play a land. Heart's Desire. Draw 0 cards. Lovestruck Beast. Draw 2 cards. All right. Not bad. Not bad. Okay, so I can attack with a few of these. I'll get in there for 5.
I'll go to 13.
Okay, your go. No big deal. This is fine.
Chat seems kind of impressed.
Chat's impressed? That's good. That's good. Yeah, Go Garbage Adventures is quite strong these days. Admittedly, it helps if you have the absolute nuts that your deck can provide.
That generally does help. How do I win this game?
You better start with some great merchants, and you better start with them right now.
Start by Heartless acting this Lovestruck Beast.
Okay.
And then passing turn.
All right. Usually the way to beat the Great Henge is 1-for-1 removal.
You're at 22 right there.
I am, yep. Okay. Start with, I'll gain 2, Rankle.
24.
Yep. I need more dice. Tough problem to have. Draw a card.
If we run out, you can blame the commander, guys.
Okay, I will. I absolutely will. Falmir Knight, draw 2 cards. 1, a 2. Scavenging Ooze, draw a card. Declare attacks. I'll attack with those.
Okay, I'm dead.
Okay. I was almost out of gas. Pretty close.
Oh, that was a beating.
That was a beating. That was a beating. Great Henge on the play, though. Like you said, with black, there's not much in the color to even deal with it. And, that's just the power of the Great Henge. I think there's maybe 2/3 of the matchups where if it resolves, it's going to win the game as long as you're not extremely far behind or something like that. But then there's other times, where just Wilt takes it down right away, or they control your creatures and you have a 9-drop in your hand, and so it's a slightly high variance card, but when it resolves, it's quite good. So
the mono black version of this deck certainly can't answer a Henge. It does have a little bit more removal to try to control it.
Yeah.
But in that case, I had 2 Bloodchief Surus. I was on the draw, so I couldn't kill the Lovestruck Beast on curve, and I got punished.
Yeah, if you Bloodchief Thirst the Innkeeper on 2, and then Heartless Act, the Love Struck Beast.
Murderous Rider.
Yeah, the Henge is going to take me a lot longer because I don't have many 5-power creatures in here, just Love Struck Beast and a Mammoth if you hit a land. But you can also do the Mammoth Fabled Passage, cast it for 2 thing. That is nice.
That's the dream.
I love it. All right, and it is also the dream that I 2-0 Ross in this match. But first, we're going to have to head to the sideboard to see what we got. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Sideboarding here on Versus Live.
Welcome back to Versus Live, where we are sideboarding in our matchup between Mono Black Devotion and Golgari Adventures. On my side, just bringing in a couple more removal spells. We got a nice Planeswalker here that can generate a little bit of value. I wish there was a better option for black Planeswalkers. There really just isn't.
Really isn't right now, is there?
I would love an Ob Nixilis.
Oh,
Ob Nixilis would be perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, don't have access to that. Our Timorants are coming
Or Liliana the Hope. Last Hope?
Yeah, Liliana Last Hope would be nice too. I would gladly accept that. Nice innkeeper.
Yes,
Let's go. nice Shaheen Sarani. Nice Lovestruck Beast. Can't ever attack anymore.
Yeah, no, that would be nice.
And then the Timorants are coming out because there's no real graveyard element of Corey's deck that I need to stop.
Okay.
Though these have been helpful against a lot of different escape cards, especially the Rakdos matchup.
Yep.
Sort of our downgraded version of Scavenging Ooze. And then cutting the 1 Malakir Rebirth, just kind of a cheeky singleton in the deck that often comes out when you need to find space for more appropriate cards.
This kind of card too, I've been finding this Scavenging Ooze, any kind of these graveyard exile effects, I've been finding very helpful against rogues as well.
Yep.
Just to cancel out Zera Sands. Like, I'm just not really afraid of that card if you have one of those things. Cling to Dust is another one. The value on those cards have been going up with the graveyard synergy style stuffs going up in Standard.
The Dimir version I have of this shell plays Seagate Stormcaller and Stormwing Entity.
Okay.
And so it's a graveyard hate element is Cling to Dust.
I like it.
You just want 1 mana spell.
Smart man. So speaking of wanting Ob Nixilis, this is the green Ob Nixilis, and everyone's shocked that green gets a better Planeswalker than black. I know. But not too much to change here, though. Just taking out a Scavenging Ooze for a Vivian. We have more removal in the board. These are great against rogues. Helps for control. There's extra removal that I don't really need too much against you. I already have a decent amount already in the deck, and I know you're trying to be the control deck, so I just want to, be proactive, use my Order of Midnights effectively when I can, and just try to outvalue you either with the Great Henge or with Order of Midnight, Innkeeper, shenanigans like that. So,
yeah. I have a lot of threats that match up well against removal. That's sort of one of the reasons I like this shell and have been building around it. So you definitely don't want to overload on removal in this matchup.
I totally agree. But one thing I would like to overload on is some questions from our chat. You got any, Rob?
I do.
Okay.
First one is from FirePixie385. What are your opinions on the mono green food deck that plays Troll King?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, speaking of best deck, another Croaky's brew, or at least that's where I saw it the first time. It's very interesting. Troll King was a card that people thought were pretty good, but it was just a little too expensive in the food shells.
It was also weird to build a deck around getting a 7/6 into play in a format defined by Oko.
Yeah, exactly. Getting a very expensive elk into play was not usually very good, but everything's different right now. We have banned everything until Troll King is now good again.
And it's certainly good against spot removal spells, especially with Witch's Oven.
Yeah, and Trail of Crumbs is still just that ultimate value card when it can get going, but there's not really good enablers without Cat Oven and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know how to evaluate it. I want to go and play it tonight because I've only seen it, haven't played against it, haven't actually watched any gameplay with it. So I don't know exactly how to evaluate it, but I've been hearing good things online.
Yeah, my inclination is that it doesn't have enough interaction to be a great mid-range deck and isn't aggressive enough to be better than traditional mono green aggro and is caught somewhere in between. But Troll King is a powerful card, and that might just make up for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're able to grind through decks with more interaction than you because you just have this 7/6 that keeps coming back, then we can play that more mid-range game but still be able to be aggressive when you need to. And then it's a question of whether you get you're caught in between, for sure. But it's a question of whether you're worse than both extremes or you get to be both extremes.
Okay.
If it's the former, then you're a bad deck, and if it's the latter,
it's a great deck.
Then you're a great deck.
Yeah. So what? It's a 7/6 puts 4
3
3 foods into play right away. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it seems interesting. I'm going to try it, but I don't know a for sure strong opinion on it quite yet. So we'll take one more if you got it.
Yeah, Mason Clark would like to know, what do you look for in decks when a format has kind of restarted like we have now?
Yorian. Yep. Next.
That's exactly what I put in checks. I knew that would be your answer.
Mason Clark, a fellow cat enthusiast here. No, a real answer, powerful synergies, good removal if the format dictates to it. You know, we've had these proactive formats where removal hasn't been good, so you have to readjust. But now I'm trying to get back into the mindset of having strong removal that is well versed at dealing with a lot of things, because you play against 10 different decks out of 15 matchups these days on Arena, so you don't want to just have all eliminates, all heartless acts, and run into like the Great Henge kind of stuff like we just saw. So I think that would be my answer. It's just really powerful, proactive stuff mixed with good removal that's going to hit as much of the format as I possibly can.
Yeah, good choices there.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I always look at is mana. What are the limitations based on the mana in the format? If I want to be aggressive, what colors am I gravitating towards? And that's why I've looked towards color combinations that have pathways. If I want to be aggressive, I've looked towards 3 color combinations that get access to a triome. From there, I'll look at different shells that I want to explore, different cards I want to explore.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always working within the confines of what I think the mana allows me to do in the format. So it's the mana that sets the boundaries that I'm working within, and then once I know the space that I'm working within, because I understand what mana is available, then I start saying, okay, I can play these cards together, and those make sense, and they're allowable based on the mana. This is something I'm going to explore.
That's really, really interesting that we kind of both brought up. We start at the opposite ends, kind of, and I do think I am pretty bad at mana bases, so I think maybe I should start that approach come a new season every once in a while, because I just like build a powerful deck and then just go through what possible lands I can play. And, sometimes I just waste my time because the mana base isn't there. For the most part, I just hope that my color combination is good, and then I play Rakdos, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah, I've not been a fan of Rakdos decks as much because the mana is pretty bad, and those colors generally want to be aggressive. But, if I were like you and I said, okay, I want to play Yorian, there's a lot of different color combinations you can play because it's a hybrid mana card.
Yep.
And do I play Azorius? We don't get a pathway then, though that's not as important because we're probably a control deck or a slower deck.
Yep.
So we can make Azorius work anyway. And then can I be 3 colors? Well, if I want to be 3 colors starting with Azorius, then maybe Jeskai is better because that gets me a triome. Or if I don't want to be white, maybe I want to go Sultai in 3 colors because that also gets a triome. And then I start exploring what things are available to work around Yorian in those color combinations.
Yeah, love it. Great question. Appreciate those. And let's do some battling.
Oh, I will be on the play with a pretty slow hand, but I think it is keepable.
Yeah, I think my hand's quite good.
I will start with a swamp.
Okay. I will start with a Heart's Desire. Pass to you.
I have another swamp.
Okay. Done?
Yep.
I will attack.
90.
Okay, now I'm kind of in a interesting spot here what to do. I gotta expect there's one removal spell coming here, and I don't really want to play into it. So I'm not gonna. Pass to you.
God, this has been so good if I had drawn that last turn. Just going to be a turn off this game. Yeah, it's got a Clip Shade.
Okay.
Pass.
All right. Now what? Can't block. I could block it. All right, I'm gonna play a Mammoth, and Maybe I want to block. So, yeah, I block. You can just replay it with a land. Not that big of a deal. I want to be the beatdown.
Okay, I'm at 18.
Your go. Took some interesting lines based on my hand, but I have a plan that hopefully it pays out here soon. So
Back for 3.
I will take it. 17.
I will swift down the mana.
Okay.
I go to 16 and pass the turn.
Dead Mammoth.
Don't want to get hinged next turn, so definitely going to answer that on my turn.
Makes sense. So I'm for sure going to sack this. And I think I want to play this and then do this other stuff next turn. This is a good card to get down here, I would imagine. You have 4 cards?
Yep.
All right. I'm going to play Rankle. I'll attack.
I will go to 12.
And
What modes are we picking?
so, if I do sack a creature, you can Village Rights me, and I think that is not very good. So, no modes. Pass to you. 0 modes.
You have 4 in hand?
Yep.
So likes all the cards in his hand. This is scary. Means probably has a double spell turn lined up next turn, and then maybe a removal spell on top of it. Maybe it's 2 removal spells. I'm at 12. Just drawing the Skyclave Shade on turn 3 instead of turn 2 is a huge killer.
I actually kind of wish you did play it on turn 2. It would have changed the way I played my game, and I think it would have been better for me. But, yeah. Always awkward to draw your 2-drop on 3.
Yep. Attack for 3.
Okay, I will go to 14.
Pass turn.
Okay. Let's go with... Declare attacks.
Yep.
I'll bring in the clowns.
Take 4.
Okay, you go to 8.
Modes.
No modes. Rankle's been boring. All right, second main, Innkeeper.
Yep.
Love Struck Beast, draw a card.
Sure.
We'll play a land, just deciding which one. Yeah, let's go with this and pass to you.
And step, I'll swift down the Love Struck Beast.
Okay.
Brings me to 6.
Yep.
Attack for 3.
Yeah, I'll go to 11.
I'll play Murderous Rider.
Okay.
Pass turn.
Okay. Let's go with Murderous Rider. Your Murderous Rider?
This goes on the bottom. You go to 9.
Yep. Then let's go to declare attacks.
Yep. Oh, Heartless Act to the Rankle.
Okay.
Go to 4.
Yep, had to do that or you would die. Now, I think I don't really care about the good value play here. Maybe I should take 3. 3 is not excellent. Tricky sequencing here. I'm going to play Innkeeper.
Yep.
And Temple. Well, that's a great card. I don't think we need it right now. So I'll put it to the bottom and pass to you.
Two cards in hand?
2 cards.
I think I can afford to play around another Rankle, so I'm going to play the Gray Merchant now.
Okay.
Drain you for 3, so you go to 6, I go to 7.
Yep.
And I will attack with Shade.
I'll block.
Yeah, figured we'd get a block there. Pass a turn.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. I'm going to... So many different lines here. All right, let's maul this. Let's attack for 2.
Out of 5.
And... I'm just going to play Order of Midnight. Drop. Play a land and pass to you. Adventure cards, when you have 2 options on all your cards, believe it or not, you have a lot of options. This just in. Yeah, the main reason I wanted to block Skyclave was that was 1 turn for sure that you were not going to attack me next turn. If you attack first, then I maybe don't block because you might just, play a land, replay it. But knowing it won't attack me the next turn, I think it was worth it, even though I, lost out on a card and some value. But I am just getting low. That Shade has just picked me down.
Yeah, that's what Skyclave Shade does.
Yep.
I'm going to play a land and trigger the Shade and cast it and Murderous Rider.
Okay.
Cast a turn. I want to get the Rider down this turn. It'll stop Corey's attacks on the ground.
Bang! Rankle, Innkeeper, Mammoth. I guess we'll get Love Struck. I'll bring these back. And then
that's the game.
Yep. I guess I shouldn't attack with those, but yeah, I'm just attacking the air. Bang. Yeah, I had Eggeting's Awakening for so long. So I had the most interesting draw. My opener was really, really strong. It was these 3 cards, 3 lands, something else. But you not playing anything on 2, I didn't want to play 2 Innkeepers, have you go Heartless Act, untap, kill the other one. So with you not playing Shade, if you did play Shade, I just went double Innkeeper, and then the next turn, Love Struck, you probably would have killed one of them or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would have taken that trade just because it's unlikely that you would have double Thirst or whatever. So then I was trying to line up a turn where I wait till turn 5 to Innkeeper, Love Struck, but I never had that third green. So really weird sequencing on my part, and it might have just been wrong, but I was trying to play around.
I was pretty
different
happy
things.
when you didn't play anything, so because my hand was just slow.
Yeah.
Like I had Village Rights, Double Murderous Rider, and Gray Merchant.
Oh, okay.
3 lands.
Oh, you didn't have a removal spell there?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Didn't have 2-mana removal.
Yeah, so in hindsight, that was obviously heinous.
Yeah.
2 Innkeepers, your eyes just would have been wide, and you'd been like, okay.
You ended up getting ahead on cards anyway,
Yeah.
because you had 2 Innkeepers. I couldn't answer them. You drew a couple extra cards there, and
Yeah.
so it was my goal to try to end the game. And it got a little awkward. Maybe I should have been more patient with the
Gray Merchant?
Gray Merchant,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just not played around a second Rankle.
And then you died. I had the Awakening. Or no, I had the Alter Fate.
The
Order of Midnight. The card I played. the
oh
next
sure,
turn.
yeah.
And I had 6 mana, so I could have rankled you.
Yeah,
so.
you would have just brought it back and
Yep.
recast it. So, but maybe that's my best chance of winning. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think if I get down the Shade a turn earlier, it's a lot easier for me to play that game plan, get more things on the battlefield, and just whittle you down a little bit lower. I had you at 6. If I get one more attack in with the Shade, you're at 3, and I'm able to get one more thing down for the Gray Merchant. I probably have you really low, and then you have to play a little bit, less aggressively towards me in certain spots. So
Yeah, regardless, a pretty interesting game, just the way it played out. But
yeah. I think you were ahead for most of it, but not by much the entire time.
Yeah, definitely any point where you go 2-drop into Gray Merchant there at the end, and I look down and I'm like, I'm at 2, So, good game. So we got time for a pity game. Rob, you got any questions for us?
I do have a question. Yargs wants to know, what do you think about this Golgari Adventures deck versus the Gruul Adventures deck you played the other day?
It's tough because right away I thought Gruul Adventures was going to be much better. But I think Gruul Adventures has been one of the decks that has been either not doing well or people want to try new stuff. But I actually just think it's not doing well because the product of the environment we're in right now that's so unlike standard for the last 6 months or whatever is removal is good. And that's a deck that leans on, just snowballing your creatures and then ember cleaving them with 2 or 3 attackers on turn 4 or 5. But when you're just spot removaling them, you're not drawing in as many cards and you're not going as late as Green-Black Adventures, and you don't have the good kind of removal that is versatile against everything. You have Bone Crusher Giants, which does not kill much anymore. That's a card that took a big hit with the bannings, I think. It's a card that I wouldn't say got banned or anything, but it definitely lost a lot of its luster just because threats are more diverse and bigger. So, right now, I do think Golgari Adventures is a better deck.
Yeah, they're very different decks too. Gruul Adventures is very aggressive. Golgari is more in the mid-range, though does play a lot of threats. Can apply pressure, but they're pretty distinct on the spectrum there. And the reason Gruul Adventures has been a competitive deck and a good deck over the last several months is because of that powerful linear aspect, being able to win games against the really powerful decks that have taken over the standard.
Yep.
And as Corey noted, the rise of removal and the normalizing of the format has placed a lot less emphasis on those powerful linear cards for aggro decks in particular, namely Embercleave and Wynota.
Yep.
And put a lot more emphasis on just playing threats that are resilient to spot removal. And that's why I'm playing things like Skyclave Shade.
Yep.
And so the way
especially good when the people are milling you I bet Skyclave Shade is you're casting a Shade late game anytime you want.
So the way you have to build and play your aggro decks has changed a lot. And so Golgari mid-range attacking on a different axis and being more mid-rangey, being able to grind is really important. I think Gruul Adventures isn't really being supplanted by Golgari because they're different decks. I think it's being supplanted by Mono Green. Because Mono Green, one of the issues with Gruul is its poor mana base. Not really playing any dual lands. It plays lands that can be either, but not a straight dual land.
Or Temple if you feel,
Yeah, they don't really play Temple because they need all the landfall triggers. They're playing Evolving Wilds and stuff. But they need double red for Embercleave, double green for Gazandu Mammoth, Mammoth, double green for Gem Razor, and things like that. So their mana base is pretty poor, but you needed to play that poor mana base in order to get all the pieces, the powerful elements that you need to compete against Omnath and friends. Now you don't really need that. You'd rather have the buttery, smooth, consistent mana that mono green provides, and still play all the great green threats. Yeah. And as you said, Bone Crusher stock has declined too, and that was the other reason to be red. Yeah. So there's no real reasons to be red in your green aggressive decks. Mono green seems to be better right now. Yeah. Golgari Adventures is a different thing, and if you want to be playing adventures, this is a better way of doing it. You're using more adventures, leaning harder into that plan, and giving yourself the ability to really play attrition games.
Yep, I totally agree. And one thing, think about like Golgari Adventures lining up against these Omnath decks. You wouldn't have a chance, because you are not closing the game fast. Like you said, you're doing these dirtily things while your opponent is playing draw fives and stuff. That's the same reason this deck would be bad against like the Genesis Ultimatum ramp decks.
Yeah,
and
nice
stuff
great
like that.
hand. Y'all draw 12 cards next turn.
Exactly. So yeah, a different world, but people who maybe just started Arena recently, Standard is going to look like a whole new beast. But people that remember Standard, like it used to be, it's just bringing us back.
Okay. Well, I will be sending this one-lander back.
I just keep drawing the Stone Cold Blade. Like my hands have. Look at this, Rob. Look at this beaut. Yeah, I'll keep. And then just mulligan.
Definitely not a Corey keep.
Yeah, no, this is not a Corey keep. I should almost mulligan it because it's too good.
Yeah, got to give Ross a chance, right?
Oh, yeah. The sequencing on it is slightly awkward, but we have so many draws to figure it out that it should be okay. All right, you got one more question there, Rob?
Yeah, we had one. Do you think like a regular Golgari mid-range deck is viable, or is this Adventures deck just kind of what you need to look?
Hey, you were saying something that you liked the old or the new Nissa, right? In some Gold Garbage.
Yeah, the green version of this shell, the Golgari version of this shell, I've been playing. Probably my favorite version of it so far. It has the most raw power. Yeah, is playing a couple Nissas. I've been I hated that card during previous.
Same.
And it didn't read well to me, but I've been playing a little bit with it just to try it out. Made it my mission to basically try out all old cards because the format is so different. And I've been kind of impressed by it, actually. You want it in a more aggressive shell that can still grind a little. So I actually think it would work pretty well here. Yeah. And return it, especially when you have like Edgewall Innkeeper, a high leverage card to return. Yeah. But even Rankle is a great one to return. But just being a threat that sticks on the board through a sweeper that also generates a little bit of card advantage. Usually with a Fabled Passage, it does it the turn that you cast it, or on turn 5. Or the turn after, you can usually get a -5 activation of it. So it's been surprisingly good. I don't think it's a format staple by any means. It's a role player. I'm playing 1 or 2 in my decks. Yeah. It's not a 3 or 4 of.
But that's what Planeswalkers should be, is role players, in my opinion. They shouldn't be these cards like Chandra, Teferi, that stand alone and you build decks around them. So I like that.
I can envision returning like a Lovestruck Beast with 2 counters on it and then playing a 2-mana Henge, things like that, cool. And having really big swingy turns because of it. But as long as you're being somewhat aggressive, it's a nice follow-up. Those menace tokens can hit Planeswalkers really effectively. Like I found the menace on the land to be really, really nice.
Really menacing, really. Yeah. Okay, cool. Good questions, everyone. Thanks for those. Keep them coming in.
Oh, man, this would have been a great 7. And it sort of has a hole in it no matter what I do.
I get rid of some lands then.
I think I've just got to get rid of this and hope to draw more copies of it. It's the least essential, but it would be really nice to have.
Okay.
Play with Squad.
Whisper. All right. So that top deck made this somewhat interesting. I think it's still correct to just play my spell this turn. Yeah, we're going to. Okay, I will Heart's Desire like every other game. Your go.
I'll tackle the Squad.
Yeah, I'll block. Force you to do it.
I liked it.
Sure.
Let's put this other one in the yard. You can go.
Okay. All right. Now I got Innkeeper and Falmer Knight. Your go.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Yep. I love this sequence here is just by far my favorite of the deck. Falmir Knight is just such a medium card on its own, but medium not bad. Just, you know, the actual Profane Insight I think is quite strong, and people don't use it enough. I'll take it.
You go to 19, pass turn.
All right. Now let's just go with the beatdowns.
I remember the first time you played this deck on Versus Live about a year ago now, and you passed with 3 mana up, and I was like, oh, he has Murderous Rider, he's going to Swift End something.
Yeah.
So I just didn't play whatever my threat was into your removal spell, and you cast it.
I remember that.
Inside of the end step. I was like, that's an instant? I just assumed it was a sorcery, like every other black card draw spell ever printed.
Yeah.
So it being an instant and that, squeeze that you put your opponent in, it's like, yeah, you want to play your threat and just let me kill it?
Yeah.
Or do you want to do nothing and let me just advance my board or my game plan, draw an extra card?
My favorite turn is like on this medium turn. Let's say this is in my hand, and I don't know if you're going to play something good or not, so I leave open Murderous Rider, and then just, oops, you didn't Profane Knight, then the next turn, play Knight, then Murderous Rider, or something like that. Like, I love that sequence.
Yep. Okay.
Quite strong.
Another squad.
I played a Scoozy Scoos.
That was a great draw.
Uh-oh.
Drew another Blood Chief's Thirst to hit the use, and I was planning on having an unused mana this turn anyway.
Okay.
Because I couldn't IR last turn, said to kill the Innkeeper, so that'll drain you for 1, bring you to 18, me to 20, and then I'll attack for 2, brings you to 16.
All right, 16 to 20.
Pass turn.
All right, Iara is a quite annoying. Yeah, sack a creature, draw a card.
Another black creature.
Yep, so I think I have to deal with that, even though I would like to do other things. Let's crack this. I suppose green doesn't matter too much.
Extra green, better lose.
I think so. And I'm going to maul that creature down. Now, do I actually want to block one of these Whisper Squads? I think I do. I'll pass. Or at least have the option to.
Okay, I will play this Agadim tapped.
Okay.
And play a Rankle.
Rankle.
I will slam in with everything.
All right, I'll block one.
There's trade, you take 4, brings you to 12. I'm going to have the discard and the draw modes. I want to find something to do with my next turn, and I've emptied my hand, so the discard is just a free card for me.
Yep.
My Rankle is actually doing some pranks.
Your Rankle is pranking. I didn't do any pranks with mine.
Your Rankle just killed me.
Yeah, I know, that's not very exciting.
It's going to be 19 to 11 after everything resolves, but you got to discard first.
Can I just not?
No.
So I'm going to...
You're going to 12 from combat and then 11 from the Rankle.
And you're going to go to 19.
Yep.
It's a really tough one. All my cards are good. I guess it's better to do that. All right, discard Rankle.
Okay.
Okay, draw.
Pass the turn. Assume there's going to be a removal spell here, especially with the discard of Rankle, because if Corey didn't have removal, he could try to just play Rankle and block.
Yep.
Which would be reasonable given that I'm just seeing 2 random cards.
All right, I got an Innkeeper and a Lovestruck. Draw.
Doesn't want to kill Rankle.
Oh, I want to.
Do we have untapped Black Source Blood Chief's Thirst on Whisper Squad to make the Edict effect worse?
No, I have much worse plans than that.
Is it just passing the turn? Are we a little mana late?
All right, 11. Yeah, I just can't. I'm gonna play Adadim's Awakening tapped and pass to you.
Seen better. Okay, let's activate the squad.
Okay, squad up.
Where are you? Last one.
Okay.
And then get in with the Rankle.
Okay, take it.
Put you to 8.
Yep.
And I'm going to choose all 3 modes.
Okay.
So we're going to have 7 to 18. I will be discarding this swamp. And Corey is not lying that his hand was good.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, and then we draw?
Yeah, so we got 18 to 7. After all is said and done, I have drawn a card. What is it?
Yeah.
I will pass the turn.
Can I take back my sacrifice? Is that cool?
Got a third innkeeper over there.
I would like to go with salty takebacks.
That is my thing.
All right, Falmer Knight, draw a card.
Yep.
Put this on an adventure, get a Shaheen,
Okay.
and pass to
I'm
you.
the Whisper Squad deck. I'm the one who has all the 1/1s.
I'm the 1/1
So-
king now.
You're really muscling in on my turf.
Yeah.
Salty run backs, all the 1/1s.
Been hanging out with you too much, I guess, huh?
Activate the castle. I'll go to 16.
Okay. Admittedly, I would have had a better turn if I would have sacked a different creature.
Yep. Well, I assume we are getting swift ended here. I will attack.
Bang.
It's going to bring you to 5.
Yep.
That village rights I have put on the bottom for my opening hand would have been nice to have there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I have a Crawling Barrens, not a bad land.
Yeah, there's a reason. That would have been a good reason for me to do it at your end step, but a second rankle is a reason to not do it, and I think the value is better suited for that.
So our attacks have been blunted. I think I will just kill the Innkeeper to stop Corey's card draw from these 2 adventure creatures.
Seems smart.
And then pass the turn.
Okay. All right. I got a Vivian. I'm going to make some reach blockers. And, you see reach over there?
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. I got some reach ones now.
Okay. And I think I just want to play as defensive as possible. So I'll pass to you. Guess I get to take a peek.
Let's village rights the Whisper Squad.
Okay. Squad up.
Oh, smart to make reach blockers because I drew a rankle.
Okay.
I'll pass the turn.
Okay. I will draw. Then I'm going to play the beast that is Love Struck. And I'm going to make another reach blocker. Ooh, actually I could. I don't think I really would want to do it. The Vivian negative ability is surprisingly not that great in this deck, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, sometimes you get like an Innkeeper out of it.
All right. And then I'll get him for 1.
I'll go to 15.
Here you go.
I will play Grey Merchant.
I'll respond. I'll kill this.
Take 2, you go to 3.
Yep.
I go to 17.
Yep.
Pass the turn.
All right. You'll learn why I should have sacked the Love Struck or the Innkeeper last time instead. I will play the Great Henge.
Yep.
Okay. Then I will draw a card. Guess I get to look first, but it doesn't change it. Play this. And Gain 2.
You go to 5.
Go to 5 and alter fate for an innkeeper.
Yep,
And
floating the
then
green.
play it. Yep. Get a counter. Draw a card. Now let's get in there with just these two.
I'll take 6.
Okay.
Go to 11.
And I'll make one more reach blocker and pass to you.
Well, it's going to come down to this turn because I got another Gray Merchant, but I need something to generate another point of devotion.
Oh no! Yeah, I could have had this.
Couldn't find a Skyclave Shade this game, which was the big thing.
Yeah, I could have had this in play so much earlier. Oh my god. I think I played really bad to give you even a chance. I had Great Henge on top, didn't know it, but just if I drew it, the game ended, and I think I should have played it in such a way.
What?
If I just sacked Innkeeper instead of Love Struck that one turn, like if I played Great Henge that next turn, I didn't know it was in my hand, but still.
So if I find like an Ayara, can I even survive the next turn? I'm at 11.
I'll be going all out. I have another 3/3 in play too. I just stopped getting it.
I mean, the Gray Merchant doesn't kill you, so let's activate Castle and go to 8.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just another swamp. I just flooded right at the end, unfortunately.
Yeah, you have me on the ropes, that's for sure.
Yeah, the thing I was hoping when you were a little mana light there, you were stuck on 5 for a bit, and I was making you discard with Rankle. A lot of the time when that happens, you end up drawing some lands, and now you're a little flooded, but it was just straight spells for you. And then I drew if I didn't need to Village Rights.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know, I can't remember exactly which was on top, because I drew Village Rights, I had Gray Merchant in hand, and I just had the 1/1 in play. I could have just, hoped for the best, gone Gray Merchant and hope for the best, but I didn't know you had a henge.
And realistically, my draws all 3 games, and maybe this is just a product of this deck just being awesome, because I really do believe it, that it's very good. All 3 of my draws were just insane. They all had Innkeeper, Lovestruck Beast, 3 lands. One of them had a Foulmire Knight as well. The other one just had 2 Innkeepers. And when you made me discard 2 cards with Rankle, the first one I discarded was Rankle, which would have dealt with your Rankle. The next one was Lovestruck Beast, which was great, but and the thing... I discarded Rankle to keep Vivian because I figured I was going to draw a card and draw another card, so a land Vivian would be better than just Rankle. It's still vulnerable, of course, if you killed the token, but didn't hit it, and then just started adventure creaturing and stuff. But then I kind of regretted doing that instead of just playing Rankle to stop that as well. So there were a lot of situational minor decisions that I made that I think both ended up being wrong in hindsight with what happened. But my deck just bailed me out, and I just all my deck is just card advantage and removal.
Yeah, it was very clear that the Golgari deck is going to be favor going long, because you're a mid-range deck to my aggressive deck. These decks and this shell that I'm trying to build around is built to be aggressive but not be dead when you kill my first couple creatures, right?
Yes.
And
resilient to removal.
Yeah, and have that resilience. So I'm not aiming to always win the game on turn 5. I can easily win the game on turn 8 and 9.
Yeah.
And I got very close to doing that. Those last 2 games were both really close. I was a point short in game 3. So, I don't think that looked as bad as it might look if you just see the 3-0 record.
Yeah.
One of the issues I've had with the shell is being able to close the game out. Sometimes you just don't have quite enough aggressive punch to end. That's what Gray Merchant was supposed to be, and you saw it came up just a little bit shy there, but it's pretty good in that role. And one of the reasons I've liked the green version of this deck is because I'm playing Lovestruck Beast. Not any other adventure stuff, but Lovestruck is just a powerful card.
Great card.
Whisper Squad is great for making sure you have 1/1s around with it.
Yes.
And that Scavenging Ooze getting big going along instead of Temerat like we have here, and then Nissa. All of those cards are really good at just closing the game out and giving you that last punch. So I found green to be the best at doing that. the blue version kind of spun its wheels a little bit too much and played 2-1s and drew a bunch of cards, which is super fun.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot tell you how fun the curve of Whisper Squad into Activate Squad into Seagate Stormcaller, Village Rights, one of the squads, draw 4 is.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I could even tell by your tweets yesterday. You were having a blast playing, and so was I. And one last thing I want to say about this deck, this is another thing. Like, you pair that up against a Genesis Ultimatum, Escape the Wilds deck, you're going to lose badly, just like this one. But that's the product of the metagame we're in. There's not too many over-the-top things. Great Henge is one of those over-the-top things, and it was very tough for you to deal with.
And then the other version, the green, red, and white versions of the deck all get to play some artifact removal, which is really nice.
Yes, that's a big thing. That's a big thing. All right, everyone, that will do it for round number 1. Round number 2... I got Yorion here. I got a brew that I put a lot of time into this, and I think it's pretty good. I even changed a few cards from what we're about to see since I've submitted deck lists, but really fun Azorius Blink deck with Yorion here. What do you got up against me?
I'm going to be playing a Selesnya aggro deck. Ooh, this is still a green-based aggro deck, but really playing some beefier 2-drops because of white, getting Maul of the Skyclaves to go in the air, and really leaning hard into the Great Henge. We saw it work really well in the Adventures deck. I'm hopefully going to be able to cast some really early Henges.
Okay, Henge is probably going to be a little scary for me, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with round number 2 here on Versus.